Hello, everybody. Welcome back to MovieBuffs, a podcast where Will and I talk about all things movies and TV in Kenya and beyond. Here we are, episode 13. I can't believe it. We're inching close to 20.
Yeah, we're getting so close to 20 now.
That's so crazy. I feel like we just started the other day. Yeah, it's wild. So today we're going to be talking about one movie and one movie only, Cocaine Bear. Yeah, we watched this last night, so it's pretty fresh in our minds, and we're super excited to talk about it. What a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was really good. But before we get into it, let's do a quick synopsis, quick fun facts. So if you're not familiar, this is the movie's logline. After a 500-pound black bear consumes a significant amount of cocaine and embarks on a drug-fueled rampage, an eccentric gathering of cops, criminals, tourists, and teenagers assemble in a Georgia forest. So that's what basically this movie is about. It's about a bear that does cocaine and just wreaks havoc. Yeah. There's some little B plots over here with the drug dealers and stuff like that and the single mom. But it's really just about this bear being crazy. And I love that about this movie.
Yeah. Before I watched it, my friend told me that he hadn't seen it yet, but he just told me he's about to see it. And I was like, what's it about? And he was just like, it's basically a movie about a bear that does coke and fucks shit up.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it's about.
Which is just what this movie is. Yeah. I had heard, I'd also heard so many people talking about this movie. So many people were obsessed with it. And it's funny because I don't really, prior to it coming out, I don't really remember, I don't remember seeing a trailer. I don't remember seeing
I didn't see anything.
Actors do promo for it. I feel like this movie, it stealthily came out and then people were just obsessed with it. Yeah.
When did it come out?
Okay, wait, I have it here. It came out February 24th. You see, I feel like I only started hearing about it the other day, but it's been out for a good amount of time. Yeah. Some fun facts about the movie. Some countries are titling it as Crazy Bear. I don't know. I feel like conservative countries, the cocaine part is taboo, but they're calling it Crazy Bear, which is so stupid. And this story, probably the greatest fun fact, that the story is based on a true story. This really happened. It's set in the mid 80s in 1985, and it really happened in 1985. An American black bear in the Georgia forest consumed a whole lot of cocaine. The one part that isn't true though is that it didn't. Well, we don't know. We don't know if it murdered anybody right now. They don't really know what happened between the bear doing cocaine and it being found dead in the forest. But yeah, allegedly, this really did happen, and pretty much the setup of the story is the same. There's this drug dealer guy. A bunch of coke falls out of the plane. He falls out of the plane, dies. That all part is the same, but the middle part, they just they took their liberties there. Yeah. Moving right along, this movie did okay in the box office. The budget was around 30 to 35 million, and it made 69.
So it came out in theaters.
Yeah, it came out in theaters, which I honestly I wish this movie was out in theaters here in Nairobi because it's such a great theater movie.
Yeah, and I don't know how come it didn't come here.
I don't know. It's such a that's such a good movie to watch in the theaters.
It would be nice to watch in the movie.
Yeah. We said that so many times when we were watching it last night. It has this kind of it's fun and over the top, and that's what I feel the kind of movie you want to see in a theater. You don't really want to see a sleepy indie movie in a theater.
Yeah. True.
You want that that over the topness in the movie, and that's what this movie really provides. But yeah, so it made about it doubled the money that it made. Critics did not like this movie, which I'm not surprised at. They were very much the acting was uneven, but whatever. Annoying. This movie rocked.
I thought the acting was good, man.
Yeah, I thought so too.
For what it was good.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So the movie kicks off with this a really funny scene, and it really sets the tone for the rest of the movie of it just being weird and crazy and over the top, and a great self-awareness to all of those elements. We see this drug dealer on a plane, and he's throwing out the drugs out of the plane, right? And so his plan is that I guess the plane's going down, right?
Yeah,
so
his plane's crashing.
Yeah, so he's throwing out the drugs, and he's gonna jump out and parachute down, and then go about his business. That's not how things happen. He ends up, I think, so in the real story, this guy, he ends up Anthony something. He gets caught in the parachute, which is my biggest fear, by the way, with jumping out of planes. Because imagine the thing could just like tangle. You're leaving your life to strings. Anyways, that's a conversation for a different day. But yeah, so his parachute fails. He falls to his death. And now police are involved. And this is like, this is right at the height of like, like the war on drugs and like Reagan, the US. Like this is when like drugs are really like, no, drugs are a problem. That's the peak of that. So once there's news of like this, like this massive dropping of cocaine in a Georgia forest, they jumped on it. And that kind of sets our plot in motion. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think at the beginning of the movie?
I liked it was good. Like the beginning was fine. It was just not much happening. It just shows how the bear got to the cocaine.
Right. Yeah. And also like we don't really care about like the drug trafficking side of this. It actually reminded me a little bit about Magic Mike, the first movie. They tried to make that first movie like very much like about like the nuanced world of male strippers, and there's like drugs and like all that stuff, but like that's not what we're here for, right? Like we want to see a bear do cocaine. Magic Mike, we want to see men take their clothes off. Like, like I found myself not really caring about like, like the drug side of it, like in terms of like the trafficking part of it. I just cared about the bear doing cocaine and killing people.
I thought it was cool. Like it just gave it like more of a story other than just like a bear on cocaine. Like, there was like a backstory.
That's true.
That made like the whole movie more interesting.
Yeah, and it did give it like cultural context too, and there was some really fun clips from the 80s, from like actual live like news clips that like captured like kind of like the tone and the cultural feeling about drugs at the time, which I thought was really fun. Like it added some culture to it.
Yeah, and the drug dealers, those were the characters that were like funny.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually really true. Maybe I changed my thoughts on it then. I revised my statements. Yeah. I didn't mind it less now thinking about like what it added to the plot. And honestly, it wasn't that intricate in terms of like, like the trafficking part of it. It was pretty simple.
They were just, and they had a few good actors in this movie. R.I.P. Ray Liotta. Yeah. Yeah, he was good in this movie. So he was the main drug boss who was trying to transport the drugs. Yeah. And so the guy in the plane was working for him. Mm-hmm. And he was transporting those drugs for like this Colombian cartel. Mm-hmm. So when like all the drugs get lost and the bear eats all the cocaine and all that, this guy is in trouble because he has to make sure he has all the cocaine and he doesn't have any of it. So I like that little backstory that it brought because it was also funny. Yeah. Yeah. And when they come to like find all the cocaine and stuff, I thought that was funny. Like,
yeah. That's a good segue into the three groups of people that we have here that are like, that are in the forest / like fighting this bear. So we have the drug dealers, right? So we have Ray Liotta, then we have Baby Ice Cube.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Who we called Ice Cube the entire time we were watching it. And so so there's little Ice Cube, and then there's the other white guy whose name of course I forget. Yeah. And so Ice Cube and the other white guy whose name we forget, they work for Ray Liotta, and they're going, and he sent them basically into this forest to go get the cocaine, to go recoup the cocaine, because the assumption made here is that like if they don't get it back, the Colombians are gonna pop. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're doing. As they're doing that, they run into these other like delinquent teens who I guess like roll up in their skateboards throughout this forest and are like, are what's it called, like robbing people at knife point, like just some badass little kids who aren't really like, to me, like they're not really like, they're like soft criminals, you know what I mean? They're doing some drugs, they're doing some petty thefts, like they're just like, causing problems. So they try and rob Baby Ice Cube, big mistake. You know what I mean? He whoops them in like 2 seconds, all three of them. And so that brings them into this plot of them going to go find the cocaine. So that's group one, the drug dealers going to go get the cocaine. Then we have group two. We have Carrie Russell, who plays a single mom who's badass little kid whose name I already forgot. Oh, Dee Dee. Yeah, Deirdre.
Dee Dee.
old ass baby boomer ass name. So she has this badass little kid, Dee Dee, who skips school with her friend Henry, and they decide that they're going to go to this mountain, like where all the havoc is unfolding. And they're going there, like I think they just want to, like, I don't think it's clear why they're going there. I think that they're just like, kids, adventure, whatever the fuck, like I don't know, like they're just going to go be kids there. Yeah. And so of course, like they go up, they encounter the bear, and then Dee Dee escapes, and then Henry's stuck in a tree. Henry's kind of the character that brings all of these characters together in a lot of ways. Because then we have the mom going up to go find them. She figures out that they're there. She goes with the park ranger and then Mitchell. So Jesse Tyler Ferguson. Oh, okay. He's in this, has a really funny cameo. He's not in this movie, right? Like it's a cameo. He's in there for like 5 minutes. Hilarious. He's playing like a straight Southern man. It's so funny. I believed him though. I definitely felt like parts of Jesse / like Mitch came out. I was like, what you doing here, Mitch? It came out. But so they all go together to go and rescue Henry and Dee Dee. So what do you think about like them? What were your thoughts on that little subsect, that group?
Yeah, so the park ranger, what's her name? Do you know her name?
I always forget her name. Mima is how I know her from Hannah Montana.
Yeah, she's in so many movies.
Yeah.
But I thought the only thing I liked about this group was the park ranger. Like, she was really funny. Yeah. She just kept, I don't know, she's just like a really extra character. Yeah. She was really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the park ranger was the best part of that little ensemble. I could really care less about Carrie Russell and like her daughter, especially because like the movie didn't like invest too much time into like their relationship or like, you know what I mean? So I didn't really care, right? Like Dee Dee just seemed like some badass little kid. Then
they just wanted to put the kids in the movie so there could be kids in the movie.
Yeah. And it felt like I felt like they wanted to like, they really like, I think that they really ran with this idea of like no one knows what happened in real life when this bear was on cocaine. So I felt like they wanted to tell like the craziest story possible. And I feel like when you add kids, like it ups the ante and like makes it crazy, but like you don't care about the kids, right? Like you're not ever like, oh no, I hope Dee Dee gets out. Like you don't really care. You don't care.
That's the like one criticism I have. Like, the whole time like the kids are in danger, but like I knew nothing, not even a scratch. Right. They would not even have a scratch. Like I just knew like they're not, you know what I mean? Like so it's just they just did it to make it more intense, but then it's not intense because nothing's gonna happen. They didn't even get hurt. Yeah. Oh, she got hurt a little bit.
Like barely. She was still like she was like totally fine. She got like a scratch. Yeah. Meanwhile, other characters got a hell of a lot more than a scratch. This movie is gory. Yeah. It's super, super gory. Like there are like limbs flying everywhere. There's blood everywhere. And like I was really like surprised. I felt
it does what you want it to do.
It does what you want it wanted to do like for sure.
What you expect when you think of a bear going crazy.
Yeah.
And killing a bunch of people, like that's what you'll see. Like
you're gonna see legs sure. And you're gonna see heads, and it just like it's going, and every time we're just like ooh. This movie is really good for like those kinds of like that feeling of like ooh ooh. Yeah,
and it's crazy in the end. The bear isn't necessarily like the main villain of the movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The bear, I almost feel like, and I think even at the end, like they almost kind of like, I don't know if they like, I found myself at the end like almost like rooting for the bear. Like I was kind of like, no, like get your babies. Like, yeah, like the forest is yours. Like, I don't know. I felt like towards the end, like the bear was a touch humanized.
The ending showdown was nice. Yeah, it was cool. I like the ending. Is like,
we saw all of Ray Liotta's guts. Remember how the bears were eating like all of his intestines and stuff? And I was like, oh God.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Oops. we'll put like a flashing thing. But yeah, I'm trying to think, what else is there to say? Honestly, like it's just like a really fun ride of a movie. Like it's really fun. I was really captivated. I loved the opening scene. The second, not this opening scene, but the next scene after the opening with that like that European couple and they're hiking in there. I was a little scared. Like there's some great jump scares in this movie.
Yeah, and if anyone's seen Cocaine Bear and if you've seen Game of Thrones, just tell me if the guy at the beginning of Cocaine Bear is the guy from Game of Thrones. If you've seen Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. Just let me know, because
let Will know.
I just wanted to know that because it looks.
He asked many times.
I'm pretty sure it's him, but it might not be. So I don't know.
Yeah, there are some scary moments. There's some good tension. I thought that was one of the best examples of it. That like that scene with the European couple, I loved that. I felt like I was very much like on the edge of my seat. That was again a great. The beginning of the movie really just set the tone really well. I think it's a great example of like how to open a movie like this well. And then there's some other moments too, like when it's Little Ice Cube and like all the drug dealers, and then there's the cop. Right, the other group is the cops. Then we also have the cops who are coming after, like, to try and like, you know, wrangle the bear and save the day, whatever. So there's this one scene where it's Ice Cube and the drug dealer gang, and there's a cop who essentially. It's really hard to describe what a gazebo is. A gazebo, if you're not familiar, is kind of like how do you even say it? We might just have to like put a picture.
Pavilion type structure.
Yeah, a pavilion type structure.
Which is a direct quote from the movie.
Yeah, we'll put a picture of it like somewhere here in the video so that you can see what it is.
I think everyone knows what a gazebo is.
Yeah, it's probably true. It's not necessary. Anywho, but if you don't, we'll do that for you anyway.
It's just like a thing, like.
Yeah, you see, it's art.
No, it's like it's like a little building thing. That's not like a building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a good? Okay.
I think that's the best definition.
All right. Will nailed it. So anyways, one of the cops is standing on top of the pavilion, standing on top of the gazebo, and they're having like a standoff. And then of course the bear pops up, and he's like, there's a really great scene where he like is not totally aware, like, you know, like they're trying to like be quiet and trying to like, you know, not like wrangle him, and he's not aware that they're a threat. Plus he's also like super high on cocaine and just looking for cocaine, like on a total fix, and he ends up like falling asleep and like on one of the guys. Just like this, it's great, it's funny, it's like thrilling in like a very low stakes kind of way. Yeah, and
the detective, I don't know his name, but he's a really good actor.
Yeah, he's so iconic. Like, he has one of those faces. Let me even just see if I can get his name. He has one of those faces where you probably know him from so many different things.
Yeah, he was in The Wire.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's in Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh my gosh. Oh, here her name is so the Ranger Liz. Her name is Margot Martindale. Mima.
Oh, that's her name.
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah, and then Officer Reba. Where's the other officer?
Detective.
Oh, excuse me, detective. Okay, he's very credited very low here. Where is he? Okay, anyways. So, yeah, I love that scene. I thought it was great. I thought it was funny. You know what I mean? Like, I think this movie walks the line of, like, funny and horror really well. I've never seen Scary Movie, but it kind of gives me, like, Scary Movie-ish vibes. But, like, maybe a little bit more, maybe not as goofy per se, but that same line of, like, humor and horror. I think it goes really well together.
I feel, yeah, it's not like Scary Movie because, like, there's moments where you forget that it's jokes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like Scary Movie, it's just jokes the whole time.
Yeah. If this is a spectrum, right? I feel like Scary Movie's over here. Cocaine Bear is probably like here.
It's like Scary Movie, they'll be like,
it's like
it's always like a parody of like an actual horror movie, right? So like they'll do a scene from a real horror movie that's supposed to be scary, but the scene is like hilarious. It's like funny, yeah.
Yeah.
In Cocaine Bear, it's more like the characters are funny and funny things happen, but like it's serious.
It's a serious situation. No, totally. I know exactly what you're saying.
But like I thought it was good because it's really good for what it is, and like it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like I feel like it could have been done in a way of like, oh, it's trying to scare you so much to the point like it's not that scary because, you know, it's like a bear. Like it's like it's a CGI bear, but like
CGI was good in this movie, right?
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just find like it was good. Like it's more thrilling than trying to be scary or anything like that. Like it's nice, man. I like it. Like
to me it feels like horror because I didn't really feel like it was thrilling per se because you kind of know how the movie's going to end. Like you can already feel who's going to get out and who isn't going to get out. Although there are some fun surprises, which we won't spoil here. But yeah. I didn't find it thrilling. I felt it felt like horror, mostly because of how gory it was. Like it's not necessarily like a whodunit or like, oh, like we know that this bear's gonna die. We know this bear can't keep on doing this, right? Like we know that there's gonna be an end, and you already can tell like the characters who will get out of it. But the gore, the jump scares, the humor, All really good to me. Also, wanted to mention directorial debut, I believe, for Elizabeth Banks. Really great for her. Elizabeth Banks, she's been in Pitch Perfect, many other things. Again, like the detective, she has one of those faces where like you'll Google her and be like, oh, this girl. You know what I mean?
I can't remember who she is.
Yeah, she's one of those like, she's like a Leslie Mann kind of person. Like, you know, white funny lady in comedy, like a Tina Fey type of person. She's done some drama, but I mostly know her from her comedic work. So yeah, good for her. I love when veteran actors and actresses like get their hand in directing. Like, I think they always provide an interesting and unique perspective onto the film, which I think is fun. Yeah. And I feel like they also like will leave room for like, you know, like improvisation, which I feel like this movie probably had a lot of. I'd be curious to hear about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, like I enjoyed the movie just for it not being too serious and not like having a point behind it, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. It was just what I needed to watch, man.
Yeah, we were definitely in the mood for it too. Like, I feel like if you are in the mood for like a funny, low stakes, but like on the edge of your seat movie, I think this is great. It's very low stakes, really fun. You won't be like bored. Like, this isn't like a chore core type of like movie. It's definitely like, this is like, you know, this is a great, like, it's a great date movie. Like, it's really chill. So I highly suggest. So for our final wrap up on the movie, let's give it a grade. Like from A to F, what would you give it? What would you grade this movie?
B.
Yeah. I think I would give it a B too. Maybe a B minus, but like a B. No, a B. I think a B. Because again, like you'll be happy with it. You won't be disappointed. Will it like change your life? No. But like you'll be entertained. You'll be happy. Like it'll be fun. It's a fun watch. So I think a B is a solid choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. As always, stay tuned with us and please make sure that you rate the podcast wherever you're listening to it. Apple, Spotify. It really helps us out. It's going to help out our algorithm, help us stay here. So make sure that you rate the podcast. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.
Thanks, guys. See you.